This is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Phillippi, and I'm thrilled to have as my guest today Phil Guzzo, who works here at MCM, and he's been here. How long have you been here?
About 8 years, I think.
Yeah, it feels like
I think it's about 8 years. It's a long time.
Usually you're the one behind the camera. Usually you're the one running around giving orders and things like this. So today you're here in the hot seat.
I am in the hot seat.
Do you love it?
I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the film club.
Oh, right. Yes.
All right, among other things. Do you want to start with that?
Sure. What would you like to know?
Well, I would like to know about Film Club.
Well, it was a club I started shortly after I got here, because I wanted, well, several of the producers, Mike included, the producer of this show, had wanted to have more experience doing film style production, more than documentary or the stuff we do at MCM. Mm-hmm. So I started this club basically to give people kind of an experience of making a film from start to finish. So the first year I had a script already written, ready to go, and we presented it to the club. A bunch of people showed up. I think Cosmo Spada directed that one, but Mike and lots of people were involved. And so basically we take a film from an idea, script, go into pre-production with it with the group. Then at some point during the year, when we feel like a script is good enough, we kind of roll into a production mode, and then we film a script. And oftentimes there's a lot of motivation to get it ready for the McMinnville Short Film Festival. Oh, right. So, but that first year, going back to that, I had written the script, and we all got together and made it. It was a fairly complicated script, more complicated than we should have attempted. My scripts tend to be really complicated shoots, and then, but it got into the film festival, and it was a lot of fun to do. Okay. And that one was Wormholes. I think that was our first one. And then the next year, we basically workshopped scripts for like 3 to 6 months, starting in January. When you say scripts, are you workshopping one at a time? No, what happens is usually several people in the group have ideas or kind of an outline or even the beginnings of a script. They bring it in, we read it as a group. Usually the author will cast it amongst people in the group. They'll read different parts, and then we'll kind of critique it and kind of over the course of 6 months kind of mold it and shape it into a tighter story. So this isn't just a film club. This is really like a writing club and everything from start to finish. It's kind of a start to finish. So the first section is we put on our writing hats, and we kind of act as a writer's group or a writer's room, kind of break stories and get them kind of molded into something that's producible. And then the middle part is we kind of hone in on a script that we all kind of like. And then we kind of refine that. And then the third part is we move into a production mode. And then the fourth is pre-production, or post-production, sorry, where it kind of gets all wrapped up after it's shot. Usually 1 or 2 people end up being the editors. And it's all this mad dash to the deadline, which is usually the film festival deadline in November. So, but it's a lot of fun. And people seem to get a lot out of it. We've done 4 scripts. There was Wormholes, and then Bob Zanheiser brought in a script, Do Unto Others, and then Mike Santenay wrote East of a Dream, and that got made. And then this last one, Galen Flynn wrote Barry and the Bad Trip, about a woman who ends up talking to a blackberry bush who may or may not end up murdering her husband. In a jealous rage? Well, the husband is abusive and is going to chop all the plants down. So I think, so self-defense? Sort of self-defense, maybe, or maybe the woman went nuts and killed him. We don't know. You'll have to watch it at the film festival. So let me just ask you then, what is your background as a filmmaker or writer? I have been making films since I was about 14 and writing scripts since I was like 10. whether it's a graphic novel or a comic, or I did a Star Wars parody when I was in 6th grade with my buddies of a little graphic novel, and then we wrote scripts and did slideshows with action figures, and presented it to my friend's brother's kindergarten class, and we just thought that was awesome. We'd do the sound effects and make my sister was always annoyed because she had to be all the girl parts and she hated it. Because it was always, she was like mushy parts and she hated that, you know, when Han Solo and Leia had to interact.
Okay.
But yeah, I still have those slides, and I've been meaning to do something with them at some point. And then went to film school in the 90s, worked for Will Vinton Studios after that, worked in TV in California and Portland for a while, and then worked at Will Vinton Studios for about 5 or 6 years, up in Portland on the series The PJs, and then have bounced around to various studios in Portland for the last 10, 15 years, doing freelance work here and there, and sometimes longer stints, sometimes shorter stints. And then I've been here, actually moved down to McMinnville to help my ex's in-laws with health issues back then, and now I'm just kind of here at McMinnville and got this film club rolling, and it's just been a blast working with people. It's really neat to see people get in and figure out, like, oh, so this is how filmmaking works, and this is kind of the process, and it's really kind of expanded, and people get really excited about it.
You know, I can't believe that I knew absolutely nothing about this. This is really incredible to me.
I know. I guess our publicity person needs to do a little better work.
Well, obviously,
So,
I mean, if you have enough, right? If you have enough people, and you're happy with what you're doing, so generally, are you looking at like the 15-minute format? Is that? Yeah,
15 minutes or shorter tends to be the sweet spot. Maybe 10 minutes even. It's a sweet spot for producibility and a script, to get a script written. Producibility, and then also for festivals, they really, the shorter, they don't want too short, but they don't want too long because it takes up too much programming time. So like that 10 to 15 minute is kind of the sweet spot for short festivals. And
have you ever submitted anything for the theater at the airport?
The theater at the airport?
At the Portland airport?
No.
Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's really cool. I mean, I'm at the airport all the time.
Right.
So it's called the Hollywood Theater, whatever, and they do shorts.
Oh.
So you just go, it's, you know, wedged in between the bathroom and something, and, you know, a gate or the food, whatever. But you could just go in there and sit down, and then you could just watch a 10-minute film, or one or more. But for people that have a little bit of time between.
Interesting. I did not know about that.
That would be so perfect for you.
That would be perfect.
Because
we're going to have to go for that this year.
You never know. Like, international people are coming and going, and you can't ever tell.
Maybe we'll catch Steven Spielberg on a connecting flight.
Yes, exactly. On his way between, I don't know, Seattle and
Hawaii, or Japan, or someplace.
I think that would be really cool. I have a question. Do you use film writing software?
Yes. There are several that are really good.
Do you use Final Cut?
Final Cut Pro is an editing software.
Okay.
Final Draft.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yes, Final Draft is kind of the de facto standard for screenwriting software. So if you just want to spend the bucks and get what is going to be compatible with everybody, Final Draft is really the way to go. There are other softwares like Fade In, which is quite a bit cheaper, which outputs Final Draft format, but and it works quite well also. And then there's some free options, but the free ones are kind of, sometimes they're a little outdated.
You get a big Google ad in the middle.
Yeah, or they're a little buggy. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're hard to find. But yeah.
So what do you think is the most, like, as far as your it's not obviously not a class, it's a club.
Right.
So you're just all there together. It's people who just have like-minded. It's not like a profit center for you.
Right.
Okay. So what's the most challenging piece generally? What do people find the most challenging? Or the most surprising, I guess?
Of the whole process?
Yeah.
I think the most challenging is probably when we transition from writing, rolling into production.
It's like the now what moment.
It's kind of like getting people to commit to being on set, getting the time, finding the actors. All of that can be, it's a lot of moving parts that go into it. It helps when there's a lot of people involved in the club, because then there can be a lot of trade-off and people can take different roles, which was kind of my idea. I wanted people to try to have experience doing different roles, like maybe someone doing casting and someone doing props and someone doing locations, and another person will run camera. And when you get a lot of people going, it really kind of gets a nice groove, and it's a lot of fun. When there's not enough people and it falls down to maybe 1 or 2 people,
you're doing all the work.
It's really it's like it's a little bit like, it's like if I end up doing a lot of the work, I'm like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this? Is this for everybody else to learn? So it really just depends on everybody's schedule. We've been trying to move our production up a little bit because we always end up rolling into the holidays and the fall, which people tend to really not have a lot of time to do. And then in the middle of summer, people are also really busy. So we're trying to maybe try to get something going in early spring.
So what we need to do is like stretch out the year. We need about 6 more weeks, like 3 in the spring, 3 in the early fall.
So we're gonna we tried to start earlier this year, but no one was available because it was it was like November. We were trying to get started rolling again, and no one was really available. And plus, people are all burnt out from the previous thing, and then they're all anxious about the holidays. So usually we start January, February. Spring seems to be when everybody starts to think about new productions and what they want to do.
The sap starts running.
Right.
Yes.
That spring fever starts. So
now, do you have repeats from year to year?
Yeah, generally. You mean members?
Yeah, like people that have been in.
Generally. Mike has been in every year.
Okay.
We have another member, Caroline O'Brien. She's there almost every year. Galen is usually a regular. We usually add and subtract new members yearly.
And then I'm guessing then that the most new people that are involved are when it's time to cast, you're going to look for somebody that fits this particular part.
Yeah, usually we actually cast outside of the club.
I would think so.
This year we had one of our new members, John Reddy, up in Portland, did a fantastic job getting cast for this this current year's piece. So
are you wrapping one up now?
It got wrapped up. Kyle and Galen and Roman Martinez stepped in to help. And they wrapped it up and submitted to the festival, and it just got accepted into the festival.
Okay, good. What's the name?
It's called Barry Black and the Bad Trip.
That's the one you're talking about.
That's the one, yes.
Okay, so we haven't seen this one yet.
We haven't seen that one yet, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming out this year.
Great.
Premiering at the festival this year in February. So.
That's wonderful. What's the date of the festival, do you know?
I don't know. It's in February, early February.
All right. Well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Phil, this is amazing. So now, if somebody wants to get involved, since you finished one, cycle, how would they reach out? Just through MCM? Yeah, go mcm11.org or info@mcm11.org, and they can email me or rd@mcm11.org is the other one, which is Kyle, Kyle is the other person on the group that is really one of the foundational members, and he works here also. And okay, great.
He keeps things going quite a bit.
I love it.
As well. So, but you can either email me or Kyle or talk to us or come in and talk to us, and yeah, we'll give you the information. And
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I've learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.